Hi there. The Mideast is on fire again. There's another war. How many Arab-Israeli conflicts have there been? The first modern one started after Israel's Declaration of Independence back in 1948. Yeah, they have an Independence Day. The 4 or 5 neighboring Arab countries invaded the newly formed Israel the next day. The next day! Quite the welcome home for Holocaust survivors, wasn't it? The first Arab-Israeli war was followed by wars in 1956, 67, 73. Let's skip ahead. 2000, 2008, 12, 14, 21. Did that land ever know peace? Another war began October 7th, 2023. Yeah. The situation in Gaza is complicated. Still, the deliberate murder of innocents, no matter by whom, is evil. Period. Evil. On that terrible day, Hamas butchered some 1,400 Jewish men, women, and children. They then posted videos to celebrate. Most of the world reacted in horror, as you would expect. Unfortunately, there was also an outpouring of anti-Semitism from a lot of unexpected places, like Harvard University. On October 8th, while the blood on kibbutz floors was still wet, 34 of its student groups wrote that Israel was entirely responsible, that Jews were the only ones to blame for the violence. Those student groups said, in effect, that the Holocaust slogan, "Never Again," should be changed. It should be, well, it's all the Jews' fault. That's frightening and makes me ask, not what's going to happen to Israel, nor what about the hundreds of hostages Hamas kidnapped? Not even, when will the Palestinians free themselves from Hamas? Good questions, but, and there's always a but. My question is, why is there anti-Semitism? Why have Jews been hated for thousands of years? Why? By the way, there is a difference between anti-Zionism, anti-Judaism, and anti-Semitism. Anti-Zionism is about Jews going back to Israel, a political question. Anti-Judaism is opposition to the Jewish faith. That's religious. Anti-Semitism is different. It's racism. Racism, period. It's a dislike, even a hatred of those who are Jewish. This and our next videos are about this kind of racism. I won't call them ugly or horrible, as all racism is that. So where does anti-Semitism come from? One reason, one big reason, is that Jews became known as the killers of Christ. That's not the only reason. Christians believe Jesus is the Son of God. He's the Heavenly Father, their Lord. So for almost 2,000 years, a lie that the Jews killed Christ drove people to violence. Other lies followed. In the Middle Ages, they started saying Jewish matzahs were made with Christian blood. That lie, believe it or not, continues to be repeated today. But, and here's another but, Jews did not crucify Christ. They did not. Jesus was crucified by soldiers of the superpower of the day, the Romans. So how did Jews get blamed for what the Romans did? Think about this. For 2,000 years, every year on Good Friday, Christians recite the Gospel of St. Matthew. It is the story of Jesus' death according to St. Matthew. In it, the Jews choose to set Barabbas free and have Christ killed horribly. Horribly. Jesus was nailed to a cross. He was crucified. Matthew then wrote that the Jews shouted, "Let his blood be on our and our children's heads." It seems clear enough, at least from this one of the four Gospels. The Jews choose to be forever at fault, so the world should forever blame them. I won't ask if thousands of years of translation and rewrite might be in the Bible. I will point out the Jewish mob there was the only mob in one place at one time. They were not necessarily Judaism's eternal representatives. Another, by the way, the church has been trying to repudiate this multi-generational blood libel for the last 500 years. Church scholars say it's a misunderstanding of St. Matthew's words, including of his intended audience. Unfortunately, and I mean unfortunately, they are still in the Bible. That's the world's best-selling book. Since the year 1455, 5 to 7 billion copies, with a B, have been sold. It was Gutenberg's first mass-produced book. It's been translated into about 2,000 languages. Another, by the way, the Gospel of St. John is a lot tougher on the Jews than Matthew's, yet that shout seems to have escaped his attention. While the Bible has much to do with anti-Semitism, it is not responsible for all of it. We will have to talk about other reasons why Jews get used as scapegoats. And you know they are, especially if people are not doing well. Maybe because Jews secretly control the world. Maybe because some Jews are wealthy. Even for bleeding on the street after they've been beaten up. All right, I made that one up. Or did I? Anti-Semitism is not logical. It is nasty. It dehumanizes the haters instead of the hated. Jean-Paul Sartre famously pointed out that anti-Semitism is not a Jewish problem. It is a problem for non-Jews. Another, by the way, there are things that are not anti-Semitism. The White House announced a strategy to fight Islamophobia. They did so just 3 weeks after the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. Now that's not anti-Semitism, it's politics. There are some 2 billion, with a B, Muslims in the world, and only about 20 million Jews. The president is just counting voters. Another, by the way, in the year 66, 3 decades after Christ's death, the Jews rebelled against Rome. The legions went and killed 1 million Jews in retaliation. Wow. The history of anti-Semitism is terrible. It's complicated, it's certainly interesting, and it's very sad. The story began before Christ, and it continues up to today, to Gaza. Last, by the way, this is the last, by the way. Did you know that Arabs are Semites? Yes, they are. So how did they escape anti-Semitism? I hope and pray that the eternal wars there end, and that all those who live there have a better tomorrow. They deserve it. In fact, all the people of the earth deserve a better tomorrow. As I said before, the most important human color is red. We all bleed red. I am Mike for the Be More Better team. Tell us your thoughts in the comments section, and more importantly, share what you think can be done to help make peace. Until the next time, bye now.